Hey there, everyone. It's Elisa with AK Educational Consulting, and I'm back today to talk about our second to last of the 7 C's for building resilience. If you're not sure what I'm talking about, go back and check out the previous several videos. So we are working this month on how we can build resilience in kids, because we know that if our kids are equipped with resilience, they're going to be able to bounce back from the difficult obstacles, challenges that life is going to throw at them. So we are on our second to last C today, and it is coping. What do I mean by coping? Well, what I mean is having healthy versus unhealthy or maladaptive coping skills to manage stress. Okay, so when I talk about this when I'm at schools or presenting at conferences, I like to use the fork in the road example. And what I mean by that is that um, developing coping skills is, or I should say, developing unhealthy or maladaptive coping skills is really just the difference of taking a slight left turn in life than healthy coping skills. Okay, so healthy coping skills, there are lots and lots and lots of them. Think about what you do when you are stressed out. So, for example, some of my healthy coping skills, well, number one is exercise, but specifically swimming, um, going in swimming laps for me. Doing a weightlifting class that I've kind of built a community of friends in, going for a walk, being around animals, being out in nature. These are all things that are really my go-to strategies when I'm feeling really stressed out. Okay, so think about yours and what you do when you need to manage stress. And if you're like, oh man, the ones that I'm thinking of seem to be unhealthy. I go out and have drinks with friends. That's not totally unhealthy, right? Or you're like, I bake and then I eat the entire pie that I made. Okay, again, not entirely unhealthy, but there are a definite list of unhealthy, or like I said before, the word maladaptive is the word we often use to talk about these coping skills. What I mean by that are things like drug and alcohol abuse, um, being a compulsive shopper, being involved in a gang. So people fall into those as coping mechanisms when they haven't been taught healthy coping mechanisms. That's why I say it's just this slight fork in the road. Okay, so when we have people who have turned to drugs or alcohol as a way of coping, they're not all that different than we are. They just have started using at some point a maladaptive strategy that they realized really worked for them or works for them, right? The same way that some of us use yoga or meditation or prayer or exercise. Okay? So it's really important that we provide our kids with healthy coping skills because we want them to take that fork in the road toward the healthy so that they don't go toward the unhealthy. And that's when we start to see risky behaviors, right? And especially in teenagers, when they don't have a foundation for healthy coping mechanisms. So, our actionable steps, we have to teach our kids de-escalation and mindfulness strategies. So, de-escalation strategies are ones that we use reactively once we're already escalated for some reason. We're mad, we're sad, we're overwhelmed, we're anxious, and we've got to figure out a way to bring ourselves down. Mindfulness strategies, they're all the same strategies, are just ones that we use proactively to help keep ourselves in balance. So, for instance, it's the difference between going out for a run because my kids are driving me absolutely crazy and I cannot take the bickering anymore. And it's either I go for a run or I go, okay, That's de-escalation. Whereas mindfulness is me waking up in the morning and saying, okay, my kids are all home today. It's summer. They don't have any camps or any activities. There's a potential that for an explosion, right? On their part, on my part. So I'm going to try to set us up for success by going for a run this morning so that hopefully my body is better balanced and I can just cope with the things that come at me throughout the day a little bit better. That's the difference between proactive and reactive, mindfulness and de-escalation. And we have to be reactive sometimes. It's not bad. We're human. And we're going to get to that point where we're up here and it's like, whoa, I need to bring myself down. But we also can be smart about it and try to be more proactive. All right. So that's an important point to teach kids. It's important to teach them the strategies, right? And I have lots of videos on my YouTube channel about de-escalation and mindfulness strategies that you can look up. And also it's about finding the right type of coping skill. So when I mentioned mine, a lot of them were exercise related. Perhaps some of you were like, oh, no, 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 I'm not doing exercise. No yoga for me. I don't know how to swim and I'm definitely not running unless there's a bear chasing me, right? That's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. But you have to have something different then. Maybe it's reading or writing, or maybe it's crocheting, right? Maybe it's meditating. There are so many different ways that we can cope with stress. It's also important that we let kids know that not every strategy is going to feel right to them. So if you were like, nope, no exercise for me, that's fine. Should we try it every once in a while? Sure. But then if it's not your go-to, that's okay. Figure out what your go-to is. So when we're teaching these strategies to kids, we want them to try something new, even if it doesn't feel right to them. But then if they're really like, oh, this isn't for me, then that tool doesn't need to go in their toolbox because we're going to be giving them lots of other tools that can go in their toolbox that will feel right to them. All right. So if you want to know more about that, please go back and look at the different de-escalation strategy videos that I've shared. I also talk a lot about de-escalation and mindfulness on social media and in various places. So if you're looking for more, I have tons and tons of strategies. This is probably the number one thing I talk about when I am training in schools because our kids need these skills. So let's build up their coping mechanisms. And I hope that you will come back here next time for our very last of our 7 C's video. Until then, have a great day.